But you did bring it up there. What was your draft day like? Like, what was that?
I had no idea. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what the major league draft. Um, that year, when I was at Texas Tech, and we played in a regional tournament to go to the World Series. And right before the tournament, coaches called me into the office, and when they called me into the office, I was like, man, why am I being called in the office? We're getting ready for a major tournament. I haven't done anything wrong. You know, I've kept my GPA up where it needed to be. You know, I haven't done anything stupid off campus. You know, I was like going through everything negative in my head.
I love that. You didn't even occur to you that he was, yeah.
Absolutely no idea. You know,
What
so
did I do
in the
wrong?
office, yeah, it was crazy. I get in the office and it was Coach Hayes and Emo and Frank Anderson, which I'll give him a shout out. He's at University of Tennessee, and they just qualified for the World Series. So congratulations to Frank Anderson and University of Tennessee. Um, they sit me down and they're like, "Hey, we got to talk to you about something." And I was like, "Oh man, what did I do?" I'm like, I can't even think of what I did wrong. Like I tried to be the model guy, you know, the model teammate, the model student, and you know everything. And they're like, if you get drafted, are you gonna go? And I was dumbfounded by the question. And I was like, "Sir, I'm Canadian. I can't fight for your army." And the whole office erupted. All three coaches erupted. They're like, "No, we're talking about the major league draft." And I'm like, "You mean like professional baseball?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I had no clue what they were talking about. They're like, seriously, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, no, I have no idea. I was like, no, I was like, I don't know. They're like, well, we've got word that you're going to get drafted to go play professional baseball. We've got to replace your position. We've got to replace you with somebody if you're going to go play. And I'm like, I have no idea. He goes, you haven't talked to anybody? I was like, no. I was like, I've talked to nobody. They're like, well, listen, we got word and you're going to get drafted and this and that. And I was like, well, can I think about it? They're like, yeah, just get back to us. Let us know. So, you know, I thought about it. And at that time, I was really unsure. I mean, I had no idea. So, um, you know, at that time, I was going to go and I thought I was going to finish my degree at Texas Tech, and that was my whole idea. So then, when the draft does come, I was told I was going to go in the top 10 rounds, and I thought that was kind of a little bit high. I didn't know like where I stood or where I compared to anybody else, but I know how I stood in the Southwest Conference at that time, and so I didn't pay attention to all that stuff. I just didn't get into stats. I didn't get into who's who. I just played. I just played because I was having fun, and someone was going to pay for my education. My thought process, I was going to try and be a doctor by the end of it. So, uh, and so when I did get drafted, or they said I was going to go in the top 10 rounds. I sat around by the telephone for the first day of the draft and I didn't get drafted. I was a little upset or whatever. And the next day I was like, I'm not sitting here. So I went to my brother's practice with my dad and helped them out and kicked around some balls with them and stuff like that. And sure enough, by the time I got back, I got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 36th round. And my mom's like, the St. Louis Cardinals called and this gentleman said you get drafted by them in the 36th round. He wants you to give him a call back. I was like, who? Who did I get drafted by? And so I didn't know. You know, at that time, I knew who the Toronto Blue Jays were, and I knew who the Detroit Tigers were because that's where
I love this story.
I absolutely had no idea who the St. Louis Cardinals were. And I called the gentleman back, and um, you know, I had an advisor at the time, and of course, he gives me the offer. He's like, "Yeah, we'll give you $1,000 and a plane ticket to come to extended spring training, and you know, get you over here and get you going." I was like, "Well, what about?" I asked him. I said, what about school? Can you help me pay for the rest of my school if I give up my scholarship?" Because I had a full ride at Texas Tech at the time, and he called me back. Whatever, you know, an hour later, he's like, "Sorry, we got rid of all of our." education money already, and $1,000 is all we have. So I tried to call my advisor. Of course, he's nowhere to be found. He was dealing with all his big draft picks or whatever. So of course I had to make the decision on my own. And I was like, $1,000, that's not going to get me very far, but I'm tired of studying right now.
Yeah.
I had already put 4 years into university. That's including the 1 year in Montreal, and so I made the decision right there. I actually had plane tickets to go play in the Alaska Woodbat League. I was supposed to go play in Kenai, Alaska, and I had plane tickets in one hand and being drafted in the other hand, and I had to make a decision. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go play professional baseball. So I made my decision right there, and that was all. That was all she said after that.